the days of my life, I want to gaze upon your beauty.
Should there be transparency in marriage? And if yes, who is supposed to be transparent? Man, woman, or both?
Yeah.
Please answer that question, and I would be glad when I see all of you on board. You are trying to answer that question. Now, what happened is that those girls wanted to investigate about boys and how boys are circumcised and how they looked. And so when there are a certain group of boys were circumcised, and those ladies entered in the house where two of the boys were kept, and they tried to check on them and ask them some questions and expose them also in their private parts and look at them, how they are circumcised and everything. And then that is against the tradition. So they were met, they were arrested. And the punishment was for them to be paraded naked in the market day. Street, and people were following. So we had, I think I was in Form 3 or Form 4 that time. So I happened to be around. It was holiday. I happened to be around. So I was told what is happening in my village. Even the incidents where the girls were locked before they were paraded is our old primary school where I was schooling in a church. Church is an independent church. That's why it's wrong to have churches without doors. So that church did not have door. That is where this girl was taken in, and everybody was free to come and see her. They were two girls, naked, the two of them, naked the way they were born, and everybody was going there. They covered themselves until they got tired, so they stopped. And if they tried to cover themselves, they were being beaten. So they stayed free. And they went around the market. So when we came, as we were told, they are moving around the market. So with our little education that time, we could not follow those kind of things in the market. So but in our village, we went there now to ask, to inquire what could be really so wrong that the girls would face such things in the village. So that is the time I heard men talk. And the old men I respected. I said, so that is how a woman looks when she's naked. And they are married and they are fathers. So I was shocked. And I asked God, so it means even married men don't know how the naked woman look like. Could I be speaking to one? Because you are already married and you don't even know how a naked man looks like. Could you be married also and you don't know how a naked woman look like? Because it can be happening in marriage. Now, I want us to look at the Bible now before we go to this and understand this. In verse 25 of the book of Genesis, I want to read chapter 2:25. My Bible tells me, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed.
Yes.
They look at this. It's not written in a dictionary or in somebody's book. It's in the Bible, and the Bible cannot lie. It says, and they were both naked, and the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. Does your Bible say like that?
Yeah, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed.
Read chapter 21. Read verse 21.
The same. Okay.
Verse 21 in the same chapter. You see it down, does it say?
And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. Then verse 22 says, then the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Verse 24, therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and will be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh.
They shall become one flesh.
Yeah.
They shall become one flesh. So there is no barrier. So what marriage is trying to remove is barrier between husband and wife. They become one. That means there is no barrier.
Yeah.
So the highest order of transparency exists only in marriage. We are looking for transparency in other areas. We are looking for transparency in ministry, transparency in in governments. There is no level of transparency in any area of life that is higher than transparency in marriage. It is the highest honor where people become one. Where people, my husband and wife, are naked and no one is ashamed. They are one. No one is ashamed. So this is the highest level of transparency. So in other words, we should not hear a story or even a clue, a hint, or that there is something covered between husband and wife.
Yeah.
There should not be anything at all covered between a husband and wife. It should not be there. Now, why is there lack of transparency now? Why is there covering? Because we know, we have understood. It is there in marriage.
Yeah.
I want to say, immediately Adam and Eve sinned, chapter 3, they realized they are naked and they were ashamed.
Yeah.
And what did they try to do? Look for leaves and started to cover
Themselves.
themselves. Not only looking for leaves and covering themselves, they're trying even to hide. To hide even from God himself. And now, that is a problem. Now, I can say, without fear of contradiction, that lack of openness, lack of transparency in marriage is an integrity issue. It is an integrity issue. An integrity issue. Why should you have a barrier between you and your husband? Why should there not be an openness between the two of you, that there is something you are covering? Why should you cover your conversation? Why should you cover the messages that you have received? How should you cover what you do? If there is no integrity issue, there must be an integrity issue. Integrity issue, what do I mean? It is when your private convictions do not match your public actions.
Yeah.
When your private convictions are not able to match your public action, that means now you have lost integrity. Integrity is when your private convictions match with your public action. Who you are in secret is not different from who you are outside. So that is the character. When you are alone, who you are is who you are, even when people are seeing you. That's integrity. So when integrity is at attack, or there is a question mark about the integrity, it's questionable. When your integrity is questionable, that is where now issues arise now. That there's something I don't want my wife to know. There is something I don't want my husband to know, because there's something I won't try to hide. What you see is not what you get. So in other words, I am hiding something. So what my wife sees is not what she gets from me. So I must try to cover it up. To cover it up, so that nobody sees, or what I see, what I am or what I am hiding will not be seen. So if what you see is not what you get, then people will try to hide, try to show you something different, because that is not what you will ever get.
Yeah.
When you are not committed to what is right, and your dealings are not honest, your dealings are not honest at all. When you are not dealing with honesty, all your dealings are not honest, There are some dealings you have, and these dealings, you know, they are not honest. And you are committed to what is not right. If you are committed to what is not right and your dealings are not honest, you will not like your spouse to know.
Yeah.
Because your dealings are not honest. Your dealings are not honest. So you would not like them to know. So these are things. There's some people now say, I have nothing to hide. But this is what I don't, I am not hoping, but I have nothing to hide. Why do people hide if they have nothing to hide? There are people who have low self-esteem. That is an emotional problem also. So there are some women with low self-esteem. So they cannot reveal everything about themselves. They cannot even show their bodies to their husbands because they don't know how they will take. They cannot even eat in presence of their husbands. They cannot bathe in the presence of their husbands because they have low esteem.
Yeah.
So low esteem can make you live in a slavery in marriage because there are things you'd like to share, there are things you'd like to show, but you can't show, you can't share.
You're in fear.
You are in fear.
Yeah.
That's a low self-esteem. There are other things that also can happen, and they can put a barrier in marriage. Traditions. Traditions. When traditions are there now, men think they are free to do everything they want, and they are not supposed to be questioned by the woman. So they are not accessible to scrutiny by a woman. And they have all the right to demand for openness from the woman. That's why it is easy for a woman to be crucified when she is cheating, according to some traditions, than a man when the man is cheating. So a man is cheating is perceived to be lesser evil when the woman is cheating. And all evil are evil. This is tradition. And there's some people who are in marriage, and their marriages are founded in the foundation of traditions. Some are in the church, but their churches are also traditional churches. The teachings they receive is just traditions handed over by men. So they have not come to the real word of God and the real truth that everybody in a marriage relationship is supposed to be transparent. You're supposed to be accountable. You're supposed to be honorable. You're supposed to be honest in your dealings. You're supposed to be open to your partner. You are supposed to be free. Free the person without boundaries. And some traditions now have come in, and they are still embraced by some churches. Say, we are man. A man is supposed to be private. A man is supposed to be like this. A woman is supposed to be the one who is supposed to show everything. That's why that man kicked out the woman, the wife, because the wife came in the room innocently and met the husband taking a shower. And the woman was not having any problem, but it became the issue.
Yeah,
and the case was not a simple case. If it was simple, I could not come across it.
Yeah.
I came across it when I was teaching about openness. And I was told what happened. And it was not long. It was not the years long. It's in 2000, the early 2000 there. It's not, you see, it's not backward thing you thinking is something that is far away. It's not 1970s, 60s, or even 80s, or even 90s. It's something happening in this generation.
Yeah.
And why is this so? Traditions. So some traditions and background, they have also made people to be like that. So another thing is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of separation, fear of divorce. Some people not open up or what they're supposed. So fear will make you plan in advance for your divorce.
Yeah.
You are planning in case we separate. What can I have? In case this relationship does not work, as a woman, what I will be left with? In case a woman is left, what will she do? There's a man who say, our tradition does not allow us to tell women everything. Because I cannot have my secret known to the woman. He can know my weakness and then leave me.
And she can know, she can understand.
And she can understand me and then leave me. And these are the reasons why many people are having an openness. So I'm coming after my wife give a comment on this and also define in our own way where God is going to help her. And why I am coming to tell you, why should you avoid lack of openness in marriage or lack of transparency in marriage at all costs?
Yeah.
Why should you avoid it? If you are going to enjoy marriage and to be in a happy marriage, this is a cost that you have to avoid. This is a route that you don't follow. Even if it is backed by your tradition, if it even backed by anything, even if you have no self-esteem, you have low self-esteem, I mean, if you have fear, if there is any other reason that can cause you to hide some issues, then you need to arise.
Yeah.
And above that,
Yes.
you need to conquer.
Yeah.
And there are some people also who married with wrong motive. So marriage with wrong motive also, you do not expose yourself.
You can't.
You cannot say anything because this person you don't know.
Yeah.
This man is, I have seen men marry. The purpose of marrying is to inherit the wealth. And they want things to be transferred in their name, then divorce this wife, and then get another wife.
Yes.
Yeah, this is also wrong.
Yeah, it is very wrong. And I will not just go up to the definition because we have already gotten the clarity of the meaning of the word transparency. But I would urge every couple out there and everybody who is even not married that the first thing to embrace, because we can see the distort that occurred in the family, in the Garden of Eden, when sin came. This is the time transparency was tampered with. So whenever people allow sin, when you allow sin as a woman, when you allow sin or you embrace sin as a man, that is the first dishonor that can take place in every marriage, and it kills transparency. Because the first transparency should be between man and God. When you are transparent between God and you, of course, as a person, you will not get it hard to be transparent to your partner. When you are open to God, God will help you to be open to your partner. There are people who even they go to God and they try to cover even their own sins. And they think that they can hide from God. And this is the killer of transparency. And when it comes now to couples, when couples are always embracing that act of not becoming transparent, then they kill that healthy relationship between the two of them. So many relationships in marriage, they are sick because if the relationship is not healthy, we can refer this relationship as a sick relationship, where people are trying to cover what they are doing, where people are trying to hide some cans behind or under the table. These people cannot be predicted. People who are not transparent, it becomes very hard to predict them. It becomes very hard to understand them. It becomes very hard even to handle a man or a woman who is not transparent. And this is also the cause of discontentment. It is one cause of discontentment, what we were discussing last week. Because if you are not transparent, your partner will not be comfortable with you. Your partner will be troubled because he or she does not understand what you want, what you live for, what you like, what you don't like. So it is within transparency we know one another. And it is when we embrace transparency, we are able to treat each other very well. We are able to handle one another. But the moment we pile some things, we pile our secrets, we pile some things, they create a wall. If you pile secrets, you are building a wall
against each other. And
with time, this wall will be so big that you cannot penetrate.
It will become
through.
a mountain.
Yeah, it will be very hard to penetrate through. So we have couples in families. It is very hard for them to reach out to one another.
To penetrate the other person.
The other person.
Is becoming very difficult.
And these people, they have a problem because even when they want some things, you meet a couple, a wife who is not free to the husband, so the wife sends children, go and tell your father this and this. They need a mediator.
They use child as a mediator.
Or a medium
between the two of
communication. And most of times these people, they quarrel a lot. People do not have transparency or openness. They quarrel a lot. There must be a medium somewhere. There must be mediators to mediate onto them.
So they are experiencing even emotional breakdown.
Yeah.
Communication
of course.
breakdown.
Yes.
Because there is no connections of their emotions.
Yeah.
And therefore they are experiencing that a breakdown.
Yes.
They are trying to, we say marriage is more emotional.
Yeah.
And there must be emotional connection between a couple.
Yes.
For them to experience this happiness in marriage.
Yes.
And that's where friendship comes in now, to connect.
To connect.
So it means when they have built a mountain or a valley or a wall that's
or
between
some barriers.
the two of the barriers, it becomes difficult to connect with the other person.
Yes.
So this makes them strenuous and makes them suffer even when they are supposed to be happy in marriage.
And this interferes with discoveries. People
cannot explore one another.
You cannot explore one another. You cannot discover. People are transparent. Sometimes we've talked and not once, not twice, we've met telling one another, I've known you in another dimension. I've gotten you in another dimension. Because when you become very transparent to your spouse, there are discoveries that take place. You begin to know your spouse in a new dimension. You discover some other levels in this person. You have the ability to know him or her in a deeper or in a depth. Another thing, it is through transparency. When we embrace it, we kick away darkness. Because the Bible says God is light.
There is no darkness
and
at all.
in Him there is no darkness at all. So when we allow transparency,
we live a life of light.
We live a life of light. And when we begin to live a life of light, we don't, because when there is light, we don't embrace ignorance. Ignorance, when it comes to a couple, it is where I try to cover my mistake and I ignore. This is not a big deal. There's no need of sharing this. There's no need of telling my husband this. There's no need of telling my wife this. And this is what has bowed many people. You embrace ignorance, and because of embracing ignorance, thinking that it's not a big deal, you build an obstacle. You build an obstacle. Because if I cover something, something that I was supposed to
uncover
last year, or beginning of this year, or even last month or 2 months ago, and now I feel that I never shared this. If I am ignorant, I'll say, I don't know how my husband would think of me. So it is good I cover it. It is good I just cover it, because maybe he may react badly.
My husband quarrels. He's a high-tempered man.
Yes.
My wife is low. She has low self-esteem.
She will not understand.
She despises herself.
Yes.
So if I release this, this woman, she is always affected.
So there's no need.
She cannot handle this.
She cannot handle this.
So you keep on shielding her.
And
the more you shield her,
and it is ignorance.
You're putting secrets. And that is lack of wisdom.
Yes.
Because you are building the wall. That is why I was talking about ignorance now.
Yeah.
You are building a wall of your relationship, thinking you are shielding your relationship. That is foolishness.
It is foolishness.
And
it is a killer. It is a killer of many things that should happen in the marriage. And of course, keeping some secrets, it is also something that kills. If you are a man and you are a woman and you are always keeping some secrets, you invite the power of division. You invite the power
of division.
You create that power of division. If you keep secrets, if you are not open, it means you are not honest. And if you're not honest, you meet yourself, you are creating the power of division. The more you cover something today, the more there's a crack that is developing. You are divided in your mind, you are divided in your attention, you are divided in everything that you're doing. So you create that power of division. And many couples today, they are divided.
They're divided.
They are not driving in the same lane. They are not driving. They are not focused. They are not going in the same
direction of life.
Their destinies are divided. Their visions are divided.
In other words, they are struggling to live together.
They are struggling to live together.
They are struggling to connect.
Yeah.
They are struggling to work for a common goal.
Yes.
They are struggling to achieve happiness.
Yes.
They are struggling to match. They are struggling even to fit to the life of each other. This is dangerous. When we look at marriage and the way God has defined it and the way it ought to be, it is more dangerous than we are imagining.
That's right. So
I think this, to my understanding, there are some things that we can avoid that are able to kill or destroy happiness in marriage, take away the power of joy and love that you are supposed to be celebrating, and finally initiate the killer, which is divorce.
Yeah.
The death of marriage, we said, is divorce.
It's divorce.
So, for example, I say there must be a clear openness as much as possible, the highest level in marriage, to the extent that your spouse should know everything, know some things, not 80% about you, 100% about you, so that you avoid some things that are killer in marriage. A couple should not know each other 50%. A couple is not supposed to reveal themselves to each other 80%. It's supposed to reveal each other 100%. And there's nothing between the two is hidden.
So there are men, my dear, who are complaining that my wife does not support me. My wife does not help me. Your wife will help you according to the level of your transparency. A woman cannot help something that has not been
somebody is not clear, difficult to understand. So let us say this. If you don't open everything about you 100%, this is what will come into your marriage. Number one, there shall be surprises that you are supposed to avoid in marriage. Surprises about you that your spouse never knew or never knew about you. Something that she never knew about you, a surprise comes. So once you are married, a person should not be surprised about you and say, I am surprised. Are you talking about my husband or somebody else? You are told your husband and another wife, and they and 3 children, and these are the children. This husband, he never said anything. This wife, she got a child when she was in class 8. She got a child when she was in Form 2. And the child was taken to the auntie. So the child lives with the auntie.
And calls her auntie.
So the man says, I am surprised.
So negative surprises.
So negative surprises make anybody in the marriage feel cheated.
And lost, of course.
The person feels cheated.
Yeah.
The person feels that he fell in love with the wrong person. And he feels so stupid of him or her. There is nothing that can make you feel stupid or foolish like loving the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And this is something that has so many marriages so hard.
Surprises, negative
surprises. Negative surprises. You have gotten married, and then a surprise comes. This surprise is the killer.
Yeah.
And this is not a good surprise. It's a negative surprise. Especially men hate surprises. And no one, even woman, like negative
They are not
surprise.
good at all.
You don't expose yourself, you are hiding something. So what would happen when you live in a woman, you have already married, and then she brings a negative surprise? What happens in this case? That you will feel cheated, feel deceived. You will struggle to form another image of this person. Because before you marry this person, you have to form the image. You have to have the mental marriage. You form the image of this person in your mind, then you agree.
Mind marriage.
You agree.
Yeah.
So there should not be surprises. Even there's some people who marry, and immediately they are surprised. You come, you never told your wife anything, and immediately after wedding you tell, darling, I am leaving you for this and this. This woman gets surprised because she was not part of that. So there are so many marriages. What is suppressing them now and killing the joy and the power of that marriage is negative surprise. So please, especially for those who are preparing to get married, because you have not reached there, please not prepare a negative surprise for your spouse or for your person who is going to marry you.
There's someone, maybe this person is having a condition, a certain condition.
We are going to that. We are going to that
And
because
you're telling, okay.
they are supposed to say everything.
Yes,
we are coming to that.
All right.
And now, number two, what will happen when you don't say everything about you? You will create mistrust. Another killer of marriage.
Yeah.
Mistrust is a killer of joy, killer of love. Because you cannot have love where there's no trust.
You can't.
So, mistrust is a killer. Mistrust is a condition where you want to trust the person, but you can't. You want to trust, but you can't. That's why it's called mistrust. So you are missing the trust. So in other words, you would like as much as possible to trust this person, but you find yourself floating. You can't. Anytime you want, you can't. Something tells you trust, but you can't. Because there is something you came to discover. Surprise is when somebody says themselves. Mistrust now comes when even a person is not the one saying.
Yeah.
It is you who has discovered. You have made discoveries and you have learned from friends that, or from any source.
Yeah.
That this has this and this and this. So sometimes it may be you never intended to do bad, but this person will ask, how many more things are you hiding from me? That is what kills many marriage.
Yeah.
How many more things are you hiding from me? How many more things are you keeping away from me? How many more things are you hiding from me? I was told that you had 10 boyfriends and you never told me. So and so, the person that works in your office, you worked under him. He was your boyfriend. And I never knew until recently when I was told. How many more things are you keeping away from me? And when were you planning to tell me? This is what the couples ask.
Yeah.
When were you planning to tell me all this? And when he talks, says, keep quiet, liar.
So this person becomes a stranger.
He becomes a stranger.
Yeah.
So mistrust comes there. And then what is built again, and this is dangerous also for marriage, is the other person becomes suspicious. Suspicion is built. So even if when you move out,
He's not comfortable.
it's not comfortable.
She's not comfortable.
When you talk, even when you are talking normal talk, you have to make your voice louder for this person to hear there is no bad dealings. Because she is always suspicious. There are marriages that are full of suspicion.
In other words, you become unknown.
Unknown to the person.
Yes.
So this person is always suspicious. That you cannot be trusted. You cannot be valued anymore the way this woman wanted to value you, the more she wanted to take you. So she is always suspicious. When you are dropped, even by your friend, you have to explain, because this person is suspicious.
Even a Uber.
When you are late, when you take a Uber, you have to explain because this person is suspicious. When you delay a bit, this person must be suspicious. When even you go to church, you say, I came from church. This person must be suspicious. You are not going to church until you talk to somebody who was in church.
Oh my God.
So there are some people, some husbands, who now, because they don't have trust, they are suspicious. And they have been surprised by their wives. They don't know who they are dealing with. They are not comfortable at all in a marriage. There are women the same. They don't know who they are married to. Are they married to somebody and somebody they don't understand? And marrying a stranger
It is the worst thing.
is the worst thing.
Yeah.
And falling in love with a stranger. Because one thing that love brings to you, see, you feel like you know this person
And you are
like for ages.
you are assured. You are sure of this person.
Yeah.
So when he becomes or she becomes a stranger, you fear even to walk together.
You fear to walk.
Yeah.
So look at this. There are couples who are always suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
There are couples always struggling with mistrust. There are couples always, they are painting a negative picture of the other person because they are negative surprise. So even if they brought a report about you, they can never defend